Hi folks, it's Danny at Bradley James Classics, and I'm bringing you today one of Britain's best loved cars, certainly from this era where it was in fact Britain's best selling car, the Mark II Cortina. And this particular one is the 1600E, and this is being sold as a project rolling restoration, a car that you can drive and then improve as you go, or if you're not looking for perfection, you can just carry out some fairly basic tasks and use the car exactly as it is. It's priced appropriately, the fact that it does require some additional work to bring it back to its former glory, but for what I did find out about the car, which actually we bought on behalf of a customer because he asked us to buy a 1600E, particularly interested in this colour, which is a aqua jade, or aquamarine jade, but anyway, aqua jade I always called it. I hope I'm right. And he, due to circumstances, had a change of heart and decided that he didn't want to restore a Cortina 1600E. So this is a wonderful opportunity to buy a car that we sort out and make it your own project. So let's talk a little bit about the Cortina. Now this one does actually display a low mileage, but because of the era of these cars and their short dials, we can never be completely sure. So let's have a look. I think it says 32,000 miles, which is well, it's not impossible, but I would probably say highly unlikely. We literally have the logbook with this car, and sadly no service record, so assumptions need to be made. A little bit about the Cortina. So I'm going to do a walk around video, and I'm going to show you panel by panel and give you my opinion on what I'm seeing. Now, as a buyer, you tend to see different things to the seller, so I'll be mindful of the fact that we want to try and keep this honest and real. Now those are very much period door mirrors, which wing mirrors, which personally I would probably look to take these off, and I would probably go with something which was supposed to be on the Cortina, and that's not those. However, they are what they are. So I've got a front driver's side offside wing, paintwork's looking pretty reasonable around there, and we've got a pretty enormous bubble that's formed here, so clearly bodywork required there. We've got a little bit on the top of the door here. This driver's door looks pretty reasonable. Somebody at some stage has fitted some sort of aftermarket alarm, it looks, and that's the key that probably operated it. The rear door looks pretty solid, and the rear arch does. There's some micro blistering of paint when you look close here. If you stand back a few feet, it does present quite well, but when you get in close, clearly to bring this car up to a show standard, you'd be looking at having a respray and taking care of various parts of the bodywork. But I'm just letting you know what I see. There's a few marks to the wing down, rear wing down low here. Same story with this boot lid. I can see some micro blistering on the paintwork. It does present nice and shiny, and no doubt this car would have had fresh paint and some lacquer at some stage of its life because it is quite bright. But in order to get it perfect, you are looking at getting this painted. Or for those who just want to drive a car and who don't have the budget to buy the £15,000-20,000 show special, then this one might just be fine as it is. I'm getting in close, and I can show you that the chrome work is pitted, and maybe it could be improved with some polishing, but again, to get it back to levels of perfection, you'd be looking at some re-chroming if so required. That exhaust bore looks a bit bigger than usual. Similar thing, micro blistering, a little bit of rust at a high level here on the car, and micro blistering on this rear wing, but as I stand back it looks pretty decent. I've got the tyres all look to be of good standard with plenty of tread on them, but I've got no idea what date I know there's a code on tyres. This rear door looks pretty solid, as does the passenger side front door. I've got a bit of low level rust bubble here, and otherwise the wing looks pretty reasonable down to there, and I've got a bit of bubbling appearing on the top of the wing here. The bonnet looks quite respectable. It's got the correct Y-pack driving lights in the front here, and this grille looks in pretty reasonable shape, and the front balance all looks present and correct. And again, when I step back, this does look like quite a presentable 1600E, but crying out for improvement. Let's have a little look inside. The seats and carpets actually are in surprisingly good order. There's that rear shelf. That's the headlining, which is pretty decent. Door cappings look good. The carpets very good, and of course they were a bit posh, the 1600E, so you had things like armrests and these sort of bucket seats in the front. And door cards in good shape. That looks like it's missing its cigarette lighter, and look at those Britex inertia rule seat belts. They're heavy duty. Sitting in the driver's seat, always the best position. Those door cappings look to be in good order, and certainly all the interior looks pretty decent as well. Looks like we've got some sort of discoloration to this black seat, but I'm sure that could be repaired. And you've got a bit of a hole here which is crying out for repair too. And let me show you the carpets and how good they look. They are in pretty decent order. And let's just sit in behind the seat. Ooh, the driver's seat appears to have lost some of its stuffing, so that would need to be sorted out. Now originally these cars had like a burr walnut dashboard, and this looks to be in good order. Again, it can be improved because there's some fading here. They featured a leather clad steering wheel with an alloy centre, and there's that correct badge in the middle, so that's all good. This extended console which runs all the way through, clock here. I don't think this Pioneer CD player was probably fitted in the late 60s. Shame it doesn't have his original radio. And again, it's got its shelving here, and looking in the door shuts, that all looks pretty reasonable. There's a crack in the dashboard, which unfortunately a lot of these cars did suffer with. As a classic car dealer and restorer, we have known that customers of ours have had their dashboards removed and filled and repaired, and they do an excellent job. So she starts on the button actually. Oh, always the way. I suggest a new battery perhaps. Could be in trouble because I just drove it up to this car park to take some photos. It looks like I might be walking down to get my booster. But she runs very sweetly. Obviously a 1600 overhead valve engine, and these later cars had the 1600 GT, so the 4-branch manifold, and they were all suspension, sort of for lowered suspension, Lotus suspension on these cars, on the 1600E, made them very special. They certainly didn't hang around, and certainly this one seems to be driving pretty well. I mean, we had to what did we do? I think we had to do something with the brakes and something with the clutch. Something you're definitely going to have to do is source a proper steering handbrake, because someone's got very ambitious and fitted a hydraulic handbrake, which is very Escort Mark 1 rally style. But the car itself, I'm going to open up the bonnet so you can have a look under there. It's all complete. I think you've got everything you need to make a good Escort, a good Cortina project. And being the 1600 model, it really is the one that people wanted. I'll have to try and open this bonnet single-handed. Let's see what I can do. There we go. There's the switch. There's the button. Almost there. Times like this, I do need an assistant actually. One day perhaps. Anyway, there we go. So she's quite solid in those inner arches. In fact, they're really good. Looking at the top of those struts, bulkhead looking very reasonable, as is the inner wing and through that cross member at the front. There she is, a little further down into the engine bay. Let's have a look. This shows that there's some new plugs and some new leads, so a degree of recommissioning has obviously been done, and there's that 4-branch manifold running down onto what looks like a slightly wider exhaust. So, and there's that twin choke Weber at the top here. No air filter box unless that's in the boot, but quite respectable, running an alternator. The water pump looks recent, and she all looks quite promising under the bonnet. So mechanically, the car has been pretty good, and if it wasn't for the fact that the battery is rather low and will need replacing, I would usually expect that to start to drive off. So we've had 11 minutes. I'm going to walk around one more time. I'm going to invite you to come and have a look at this car while she's available. Anything like a Cortina 1600E is going to be super popular, and we've sold many over the years. However, selling one at a price point which is a rolling restoration, I think it's going to show a lot of value compared to a fully restored, done up one. And I've seen some of the prices and they're quite surprising. I think this is a lovely colour for it. It does have its advantages because it's complete and it's relatively solid, and something that you're going to be interested in is the fact that a whole bunch of welding have been carried out to the car, and they've done a good job from what I can see, and they've made the repairs and they've been undersealed. I'm going to show you what I can show you at the back, and actually in the past MOT history it does refer to welding, which I doubt anyone's going to be surprised about. But let's have a little look down here and see what I can show you. So here, well, that looks like a petrol tank's in pretty good shape. That's the axle, and I can't see how much you can see of the front, but certainly those rear arches. I'm going to get a bit further forward. Don't know how much extra that shows you there, but it all looks to have been repaired nicely and painted afterwards, and she does look pretty solid in all the usual areas. You're very welcome to come and have your own inspection, of course, but she is with us now. Thank you for tuning in and watching the video, guys. I hope this might be a car for you. It would be a dream to get such a lovely old car back on the road where she deserves to be. People always flock around a 1600E with their stories from when they were young, and I think it's a really worthwhile Cortina to improve, help save and keep on the road. It's Danny at Bradley James Classics signing out. Thank you for watching the video.